Hello and welcome to Murder Analysed, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so glad to be back. This is much more relaxing than my gardening. But today's video is a very important video leading up to our missing person Christmas appeal, which will be starting on the 1st of December, which is tomorrow, and it will run for 20 days. There'll be a new video out every day for 20 days highlighting a missing persons case. So before I wanted to do them videos, because I don't want to do a video and put all this on the introduction of each video. The video will just be about the case. Be quickly edited, to tell the truth, no fandangle stuff. It's purely about the case. But today on this video, as an introduction to these cases coming up, we need to talk about missing people and why people go missing, how many people go missing. It's ridiculous, really, how many. But as we're coming up to this Christmas period, and from the 1st of December, everyone's getting ready, aren't they? The Christmas trees are already up, everything's out there already up, families are preparing. Now, my family, we get together at Christmas and we really enjoy ourselves. It's not so much about the presents, it really isn't. For the younger kids, sure, of course it is. But for most families, it's about getting together, isn't it? Spending time together, enjoying each other's company. So these, I suppose, time of year that I want to do this highlights that some people will never be sitting around that table again. Some people will never be spending time with their families. Now we're talking about very young children to adults, elderly. All this sort of stuff happens to families and it is devastating. So at Christmas, Murder Analysed like to come together and think of these poor people, the people left behind waiting for answers to find their loved ones, or at least have closure. Now yes, some of the cases that we're going to do, it's quite clear that these people are deceased, so they are looking for bodies. But even a body gives closure, even understanding sometimes, because when you find that body, you may find evidence of what happened to them people, or the perpetrators themselves will be caught and held accountable. So all this sort of thing goes into it. But why I do this at Christmas personally, because I would hate to be one of them people that don't know, that are waiting day in and day out for information on a loved one that has gone missing. It could be your child, it could be your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your nan. It could be anyone. It could be anyone, but it affects the whole family and really affects your whole life as you're waiting. And Christmas and birthdays for these loved ones that are still missing are so important to the family, and it highlights their loss, I think, even more. So let's have a look at some of these statistics. So there's 7 major categories of people that go missing, and we need to do this so you understand. It's not easy to find people that go missing. But first of all, let's start with these categories. So we have voluntary leaving, escaping, running away, starting over, that sort of thing. Choice, right? Still not a good thing to do, right? It isn't for the people that you've left behind. If any of you out here watching know someone or are someone that's done that, just let one of these charities know that you're still alive. It's not illegal to go missing. There's no crime being committed here. So just, let someone know. Give your family, give someone some peace of mind that you're okay. That's all people really want to know. Are you okay? So the other groups are unintentional, getting lost, accidents, that sort of thing, which there's nothing really you can do. If you're mountain climbing, you fall off a mountain or whatever, and that happened, I think, in Tenerife. It happens, right? Accidents happen, and therefore, it's so difficult. Some bodies are found and some bodies are not. It depends in what region of the world you're travelling and an accident has occurred. It's very difficult to find people out in the wilderness, really is. Mental health crisis, that is another big one. For people who suffer with mental health, or people who have family who suffer with mental health, you understand that when people go through psychosis or something, they are so confused and don't know what to do and can easily wander off and get lost. and really die of hypothermia and stuff like that. That happens quite a lot. Then we have the criminal involvement, abduction, trafficking and homicide. And a few of these cases we will be dealing with. With abductions and stuff, you know, when you have a stranger taking someone, a loved one, their intention is to kill, right? That's the intention, is to abduct and murder. That's really it. Depending how good they are at hiding the evidence or hiding the bodies, it makes it really difficult then for the police to find. It even makes it more difficult if there's no CCTV footage or anything like that that can give any evidence to that. So that's quite a high risk rate and a very low rate of finding these people. Trafficking at the minute is a big thing worldwide, especially in the UK and in the US. It's massive, really, to tell the truth. Legal. So a lot of people run off for legal reasons, you know. That's a choice one. We'll leave it at that. So you may have fatalities that are caused by medical emergencies and stuff, when you're out and stuff. And so these are sort of people that may be found quite quickly, right? They've you know, had an accident or had a heart attack or something while they're out, and it may take a few days to find them, but the risk or the rate of finding these people is high. So that's quite good. And miscommunication and error. A lot of people, because the first 72 hours, really, when we have a missing person go missing, it's if you can't find them in the first 72 hours, it gets a little bit more difficult, but most people are found within 72 hours. After that, the risk, especially if it's abduction or any of them, is a lot higher to find them, really. The rates go up. So, as I said, most missing people in the UK and the US, and we're sort of dealing with these two. I'll tell you what, I was going to deal with Australia, but there's, and I probably will do a few cases on Australian cases, but there's one state in Australia, a state that I used to live in, actually, New South Wales. And when you look at the statistics there for missing people, I think at one point between a certain radius, not very far, between a few little towns, there's 57 people missing. 57. So I'm only doing 20. So the whole missing appeal would have been done just on that, but we will be looking at that case or cases relating, because there's definitely serial killer or killers working actively in that area, and there have been for many years. So I'm trying to avoid Australia for that reason, because yeah, there's a lot, there really is. So let's have a look. So mental health crisis is one, criminal cases another, trafficking, exploitation is another, quite high, vulnerable children, people in care run away for many reasons now, as we know, it's all coming out, and elderly and dementia. You know, if you've got dementia and you might wander off, the harm that it could cause you as someone in dementia, especially in the UK, in our winters here, you wouldn't last very long, an elderly person wouldn't last. So there's lots of reasons why people go missing, and there's lots then of statistics really on how quick it is to find them and how not, right? Some people are never found, and you'll see in some of the cases that we're going to do on here, we are looking for bodies. That is what we're looking for. And some of them are older cases, but they need to be told, because these families need to have some closure. And over time, as I've always said, people know things. People don't say for fear or something like that. They hold back. Most of the perpetrators may be dead, or they may be too invalid to do anything now. So it's always about putting these appeals out, these Christmas appeals, for the missing people, because circumstances change. They do, and they change for the perpetrators, they change for the victims, and they change for people that know, or may know of what went on in the disappearance of these people. So that's what these appeals are for. Plus, if you know anything, there'll be always on the end of the videos, and throughout the videos actually, your places that you can contact to get to give you any information that you feel. And I always say it could be the smallest little bit of information that will break a case. But my thoughts go out to all these people who are sitting there this Christmas not having anybody at that table, and they've waited years for some information, for something about what may have happened. So let's look at the categories really, and we're slumming up, because in the UK and America and all these places, the statistics are not done on one database. So there isn't a live feed or a live database that updates about missing, right? Or long-term missing. There isn't. So the statistics are based on really, and mostly charities that do all this work, and amazing charities that do all this work. So the statistics can't be relied on, but they are as good as they get. People say they're probably higher than what's predicted out there. So it's shocking, really, of how many of these people and how many people go missing. But when we summarise runaway kids, really, when we're looking to recover and find them within them 72 hours, it's about 90 to 95% chance that they will be found quite quickly and returned, unless they're trafficked, right? And that's a big issue at the minute. Unless they're trafficked, that drops dramatically. Okay, mental health crisis, between 70 and 90%, because people with mental health who's in a psychotic episode and are feeling overwhelmed don't usually hide from cameras, and we have a lot of CCTV cameras, so they're seen, they're noticed, their behaviour's noticed, and so that helps find them much more quicker, unless they then become into a foul play where someone who is quite a nasty person uses or abuses these people that are literally scared for their life. So it's statistics, that's why the statistics can't be right. Voluntary adult disappearances, usually if someone just goes away, runs away, trying to get away, from stress and stuff like that, start a new life, the recovery is, or whether you hear from that person, is between 60 and 80% recovery. Accidents and remote, about 50 to 70%, depending, as I said, on what region, what country, where you are, how much people want to search for you. The tools that will be needed to search for you are available. It's about 50 to 70%. So it's like parental known person abduction. So it's like when you have a breakup in a marriage and you have one person that takes a child and runs away for one reason or another, and people have many different reasons why they do that. The recovery rate for that is about 60 to 90%, again depending on where they run, what country they go to, and how good they are at hiding, to tell you the truth. Stranger abduction. Now, when you have a stranger, and one of our first cases is on this, stranger abduction, again, is very low rate. It's between 30 and 50%, but that does depend on the speediness of the knowing when the person was taken. It's also about whether there is a lot of CCTV and different evidence that can help find that person. Stranger abduction is rare, you could say, not so rare I suppose now, but it's still rare in the statistics on disappearances. But the rate or the percentage of finding that person does diminish with all different scenarios thrown in there. How good are they at it? How have they done it before? Are they confident in their crime, right? Did they stalk the victim first? Did they plan that? Was it just a off the street abduction, just because I've seen someone, so I'm going to take them? Right, that's the risks these people take. Most people, though, who do this, it is literally someone they see and it's an opportunity to take that person or that child. That gives then a higher rate of being able to find that child. We now have Amber Alerts and all these different things that we can do, but it does depend on a lot of things. So 30% is not high, or 50% if we're lucky, if everything's in place that would make it easier to find that person very quickly. But with an abduction, 72 hours, and you haven't done anything and you can't find anything, the risk or the probability of finding that person diminishes. a lot, probably to at least 10%, right? You of finding that person, one, alive, and two, even finding that body. It's shocking, isn't it, the statistics, really? So foul play, homicide, it's about 10 to 30%, because as I said, these days we're finding less bodies because of the DNA, right? These criminals are not stupid. They're trying to dispose of these bodies so they can't be found. Even some of the cases that we're doing at older, we are looking for bodies, and the bodies are hard to find, especially after years of being buried or everything, because the terrain changes, landscape changes. It's only if there's building work being done and stuff like that it's more likely to find, or if the perpetrator actually gives up the burial site, or if it's a serial killer, they may have had a region or an area where they used it as a body dump site, and that's when the probability of finding them, the percentage, becomes a little bit higher, but not very high at all, unfortunately. So no trace vanishing. This is, I suppose, with our older cases that we're going to look at, and any cases actually now or in the future that come along, it is still highly so difficult to find where there is no evidence at all, right? If you have no trace evidence, it's literally they've gone without a trace, picked up, gone, there's nothing. And there is a case that we're doing within this Christmas appeal, missing appeal, where there's 3 people that literally vanished without a trace from the same house, but we'll go into that. There's some very interesting stuff coming up, but what I really want this to be about is about the families. It's about trying to share these videos, keep these cases alive, right? Because these bodies need to come home. These people need to come home. And all I keep saying is someday, right? And God, I really hope that none of us have to go through what these poor people have gone through. That's not just the victims. That's the people left behind, waiting really for some news on their loved ones. Life is very difficult to get on with when you have no ending, right? You have no final part where you can say, okay, we buried them, we can go and talk to them, we have that final ending to it. This is a continuous heartache for these people, day in and day out. It's ended marriages, it's left siblings with scared to go out. Their whole lives have changed at this point for all the families that are still waiting for their loved ones to come home in any form. It's a curse, really, I think. It's a life sentence for them. It's really, really terrible. And so that's why on Murder Analysed we like to do Christmas appeals. So the next video you will see, which will come out on the 1st, and that's the first one, and that is the case of Morgan Nick. Now, she was 6-year-old at the time of her disappearance, and we are definitely looking for a body. So thank you for watching, and until tomorrow for the next case, and when we start our Christmas Missing Persons Appeal. I thank you for joining me. Have a great Christmas, everybody, and I'll see you at the end after 20 days. 20 videos, or 21 including this one. We'll see how it goes. Please share, like and subscribe, and hit this hype button. Not that I know what it's about, but hit it anyway. Leave me comments. Leave me comments on any cases that you feel, because I've wrote 4. I'm about to write some more. Leave me some comments on any missing person case that we haven't done before and that you think is worthy of being highlighted. So thank you for watching. Till the next time. Bye bye.